in bracket because in this original, in the Saraiki language, most of these women spoke Saraiki, and the noun itself is gendered, so I could tell the gender, but in English I have to add in the brackets. Was not allowed inside the houses. Tongas were covered with curtains. If you go out and about, you stay sane. I'm beginning to lose my sanity. So in this, I analyzed it as a desire for literacy and the ability to articulate themselves and thus achieve self-realization. And I look at silence as being the antonym of speech, and it stands for illiteracy, whereas literacy enables people to participate and function fully in society, and the women these women express a desire consistently, irrespective of their age and irrespective of their geographical orientation. They exhibit a desire to find a voice and have some agency in their lives. This is a journal entry, a young woman. This is a woman identifies herself with a fictional character and talks about the suffocation with the restrictive traditions, and is also a suggestion of subverting the patriarchal ideologies on gender. After dinner, I took my radio and went upstairs on the terrace. I liked a drama which was on air. It was about an educated daughter-in-law who is a doctor. She wants to work, but her husband and mother-in-law do not approve. They want her to remain domesticated. She feels suffocated. At last, she leaves her husband and takes up work. She earns her own living, has her own house and car. I thought strange thoughts after listening to this play. Whether she made the right decision or not, I kept thinking until I dozed off. Now, the expression of the self and the conflicting ideologies is shown in this preoccupation with these sociological issues and the preoccupation with the issues of female education and employment, and whether it is, as she talks about through the metaphor of suffocation, whether she should balance the stereotypes regarding personal and social identity. So there is in these diary pages and in their conversations is a mixture of personal and sociological insights, which I find in the work of feminist poets of Pakistan, who are renowned and acclaimed, whereas these women are termed as illiterate women, illiterate village women. And now again, this is a younger woman entry. Comparing myself with the village girls, I feel I'm much better in a lot of ways. Now this is, I reproduce because she wrote she had some literacy in English, and she wrote in her diary in English, so I have reproduced it, so there may be some errors there, but I reproduce it from the diary as it was. I thank God for that. I observed that little knowledge is dangerous. Well, to some extent this applies to me as well, but I try to improve my knowledge by reading and watching television. They were mixing Islam with their own old stupid traditions. That is example, parda system. For them, wearing a burqa was parda, whereas wearing a chadar was not. I think they have complicated their lives themselves. If they would have changed the trends and mentality, their lives would have been much more easier. If people of can digest certain things, they belonged to the same country, they would have digested it as well. Now, there are a few words perhaps I need to gloss over these words. Parda. Do people know what parda is? No? No? What? I took it for granted that people would know. Parda is a kind of literally it means a screen or a curtain, but it is it's a symbolic division or a segregation of genders at the time of puberty. So also it is a symbolic division on the basis of gender. It divides the division. It's on the basis of gender, the space division of space. Public spaces are male spaces, and domestic domain is a woman's domain. Also, a kind of segregation and in terms of division of labor role. It's a kind of clear demarcation of gender roles. And Tonga is a horse carriage, as I mentioned. Burqa is a long flowing garment, kind of robe, and also with a top to cover the head and face, and which is worn when they go outside their houses in the villages. Now this goes on. This young women were subverting mainstream practices, and this is the same woman, young woman. She's talking about identity formation through her literacy process, because she is the one who has some English literacy as well, and she has had schooling and education. I want to lead my life as I want to. I can't blindly follow the rules of my ancestors. They are gone and dead. And we say, this is from a focus group recording, we want to be this and we want to be that. They say we are not letting you study to take up employment. I would like to share. These are some of the pages from diaries of rural women, which I collected during my fieldwork. And then this is another. It is not exactly a short story, but this is a kind of it is a diary entry, and it is from a woman who studied at a university. And this was originally written in English. So most of the other excerpts were translations. It is titled "Because My Daughter Is My Mother." Alley, a blind alley holding such a deep gloominess, as if the gleam has forgotten to tread into these paths. Here in the pitch dark, I stand with my eyes craving for a ray of light and my ears sensing the silence. A deafening silence. There echoes a crackle as if of a toy, and then I hear a cry so familiar. Hardly were those sounds recognized when the beats of a staff from the other corner intruded into my thoughts. Together these lively sensations mesmerized me, tuning me into the very rhythm. Out from the clutches of those horrifying shadows approached a figure, the stumbling beats of the staff grew clearer. Mother, my mother now stands right to my face. My mother from the peace town of those never reached. My mother whose sight after many long years made me a stranger to the cries around. A single glance at her face brings back to me a whole scene of existence. Seeing her hands now pale enough remind me of those kisses and caresses I today urge for. Those bright black eyes shining through the thick spectacles remind me of the pride they once carried for everything I achieved, small or big. The curve of those lips into such lovely shades of smiles never makes me forget of my deepest inspirations. And that heart, her little great heart that always beats so usually for my absence around her. My life when revolving too much around others, the worst of all moments was seeing her waiting for me at the gate with her forehead showing signs of worry. And now the alley. This blind alley of my mind reminds me of those words I had for her every time. Yours is such a bird's heart, Mama. You take pain for such petty matters. Veiled in her peculiar black chadar, cloaking her from head to ankles, she waved the true airs of eloquence. Hijab of a woman is more of a weapon, she told me, because it sets the limits for the strangers. It is to defend yourself with the politest of all ways. Her very philosophy of walking through life unnoticed harmonized in every part of her being. Silence spoke louder than words, and it knew exactly how to assert herself in the least prominent manner. It was her never uttered decision that paved my way to the bigger city for education, and there I found a whole new world, a world where the rhythm of life seemed relentless. I just reproduce, I say what is in written that has handed down to me. It was perhaps the time of marked comparisons that I drew. Comparisons of my mother's simplicity with the fancy breeds of shimmer and glow, my mother's education with the literary